Good morning, Reg.
Good morning, Theodore. It seems like everyone's getting a video tribute nowadays. So.
Yeah, you got one when you retired in India.
Here's the thing. Would you, if you went back to the mothership, would they give you a video tribute? As they should, but would they? You should get one, but would they give you one?
They wouldn't, but maybe individual. Like Scott Van Pelt did when I went back there. Yeah, it had a couple of nice pictures there, but I don't think the network would. I don't need a video tribute if I go back to the mothership, or if I did.
Oh, you don't need it because they actually have your statue at the campus.
Yes.
So
yes.
You don't need a video tribute because they see your statue every single day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. In fact, Jordan and the Bulls got the idea from my statue at the mothership, and that's what they did when they based that. They put that outside Chicago Stadium.
Makes sense. Got it. Makes sense.
All right. Help me with the Cavaliers with what's going on. That, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, in a locker room increasingly full of finger-pointing, Kevin Love defended himself and explained his side to teammates, coaches, and management. At the end of the meeting, there was a sense of, with some of the team, that they had worked out some of the issues, but ultimately remains to be seen. They were not happy that Kevin Love may not have been fully sick when he left the building early on Saturday. Help me with what's going on here in Cleveland, Reg.
Well, number one, you could have way too many player-only or team meetings. There's times for them, obviously. The Cavs have really struggled since Christmas. I'm not quite sure this is one of those times for those meetings because I hearken back, and I know people don't like to talk about Jordan or Magic or Larry Bird, but you are playing with arguably the greatest player in his generation in LeBron James. And if you can't bring the maximum effort while you're hurt or sick on a nightly basis, then individually something's wrong with you. Again, you and I, are on the outside looking in, so we don't know what they're assuming or alleging Kevin Love did. Again, we're on the outside looking in. But I did the game Toronto versus Cleveland when Cleveland was going through the middle of that spell when they lost badly at Minnesota, they lost badly at Toronto. The effort that Kevin Love was displaying was horrible. And I think that's the frustration level that his teammates are facing with him. And if you can't bring that, we all remember Michael Jordan getting in the fight with Steve Kerr, that competitive drive. Same thing with Magic, same thing with Larry. You wanted to almost die playing with these guys. And if you can't give that maximum effort, something is wrong with you. You don't need a players-only meeting for that.
Do you think Kevin Love wants out?
I really believe that roles, and this is so late in the game and after a championship so many years later, Coach Lue has to do a better job of defining roles. I thought Kevin Love, to start of the season, with Isaiah Thomas hurt, was the clear-cut pecking order and played well, number 2 on that team. For whatever reason, things have gone gray. There's a gray area there, and I just don't think roles are that defined for Kevin Love. Does he want out? Possibly, but where are you going to go and compete at a high level not playing with the greatest player of your generation in LeBron James? How can you not bring that maximum effort?
But he won his title, and maybe he's just tired of this drama. There's always drama there, and maybe he can go to a situation like he had in Minnesota where he can play his 35 minutes and get his 24 and 14 and live happily ever after there.
And what's sadly about that, there's a lot of players like that. I'm not going to accuse Kevin Love of that because I think he was instrumental in them winning that ring for Cleveland, so I am not going to label him that way. But there are players like that just want the stats after they get the ring and their life is complete. But if you want to stand for something more, for bigger, every night you lace them up in Cleveland, you should be playing for a purpose because you're playing with a great player. That's how it should always be, Theodore.
But why all this drama? And I know that we focus on LeBron and the Cavs, but he has to be a facilitator with a lot of this drama here. Isn't this the roster that he wanted? He wanted Kevin Love. He wanted Kyrie out. He got Korver in there. They kept Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith. He got Tyronn Lue in as his head coach. So what am I missing here?
Well, I would say this. I don't think he wanted Kyrie out. I thought Kyrie was a huge part of this team because he had evolved into the go-to guy. So I'm not quite sure LeBron wanted him out. But, yeah, this makeup, this team, obviously has the fingerprints, and he got the coach, too.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about Blatt and Lue, the whole thing there, too. So he got the coach he wanted. So, yeah, the Cavs' fingerprints obviously have LeBron James all over them. And on top of that, at the end of the day, he won't commit. He won't tell what he's going to do next summer. So that's what makes it even more challenging if you're Cavs management, because you don't have that committal from your best player. But
what do you do, Reg? We're approaching the trade deadline, February 8th. Are they more likely or less likely to do something big in Cleveland?
To me, I think, big would be obviously trying to bring in someone like a DeAndre Jordan, maybe for Tristan Thompson. And I'm not quite sure they want to come off that number one pick that they have, because there's a lot of great college players that could potentially not be the next LeBron, but can fill a void if he was to go somewhere else. So I'm not quite sure they want to come off that number one pick. Again, it makes it challenging because he's been non-committal. But having said all that, the Cavs are in the East, and there's only 2 or 3 teams that they really have to worry about, if at all, and that's Boston and Toronto. And you've got to beat that dude 4 times. And I know things are kind of bleak right now in Cleveland, but with no back-to-backs, you've got to beat LeBron James 4 times. And I know they're having a lot of issues at the defensive end. J.R. Smith has been awful, but you still got to beat them 4 times. And we're putting a lot of onus on Toronto and Boston, as well as they've been playing the 2 best teams in the East. I'm still rolling with the Cavs. There's still a lot of times for them to turn this around, Dan.
We're talking to Reggie Miller, NBA on TNT. Reg has the Wizards at the Thunder at 8 Eastern on TNT this week. The Bucks' future, is that a good job or a great job?
Oh, a great job. Great young talent, obviously, in Antetokounmpo. You have Middleton. One thing that people are not talking about, I know Jason Kidd was let go, but he didn't have Jabari Parker really almost for 2 years because of the knee injuries. He was in and out, but not at all this season. And they're still sitting 7th and a game and a half really out of the 5th spot. It was interesting quotes coming out of that conversation between Giannis and Jay Kidd. When obviously Giannis found out before Jay Kidd in the phone call, and do you want me to call management? Do you want me to call my agent? The interesting thing Jay Kidd says is, don't worry about it. What is done, but just tell the truth. Tell the truth about what? There's some underlining factor that's going on either between Jason Kidd and his coaching staff and management or ownership. Tell the truth about what? That's what I would want to know.
It was weird, the chain of command, that it went from management to star player to the soon-to-be-fired coach. I thought that was pretty interesting. Very
rare does that happen because, number one, you never want to upset your 21, 22-year-old, future icon player in Antetokounmpo. But they felt that they probably had to get ahead of the story, and Giannis was not happy about it. Obviously, him and Coach Kidd, very close. They have that Nike relationship. So I think it was unsettling for him, but you've got to go to him first and saying, this is what we're thinking of. This is what we're probably going to do. And you're probably going to have to get on board with them. I know they just signed a deal. See, this is why great players in small markets, they start looking elsewhere because of the stability is not there. And for whatever reason, management felt that Coach Kidd had maxed his coaching ability, capacity with this young team. And to me, I think there's another dynamic that people aren't talking about, the Eric Bledsoe trade. I don't know if Jason Kidd was on board with it or not on board with it, because Malcolm Brogdon, last year's Rookie of the Year, I thought was a great piece for them. And you and I talk about this all the time about chemistry and how big that is, especially for a young team. Everyone had a role on this team. including Malcolm Brogdon, the Rookie of the Year last year. So when Bledsoe came in, and I'm not putting this on Bledsoe, but it kind of changed a little bit because the ball had to be in Bledsoe's hand a little bit more as opposed to Antetokounmpo, who was the point forward center on this team. So it changed a little bit, and I'm not quite sure if Jason Kidd was on board with it or wasn't on board with it because it changed the chemistry and the dynamic of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Before I let you go, I did want to ask you about this, that the captain's picks is not going to be televised with LeBron and Steph Curry. And I know that maybe you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, but my thought is, why couldn't you have LeBron and Steph just do the starting five, and you don't have to do the full roster where somebody is going to be the last guy selected for the All-Star team roster? Just do a starting five with these two guys. I mean, that would be fun if Steph takes... or he's going to draft, throw Kyrie Irving just because, or LeBron's going to draft Kyrie. Like, there's a little bit of drama in there, or LeBron is going to take Kevin Durant. Like, that's fun. Why can't we do the starting five here, Reg, and, not worry about somebody's feelings?
100% agree with you. And number one, I'm to the point, who cares about someone's feelings anyways? You're still going to be an all-star. So who cares if you're picked last? The drama, the whole point of, I'm assuming, why the league wanted to do captains and let's do it playground style and I'll pick my team, you pick your team. That's the drama about it. That's how we all grew up. And who cares if you're the last player picked? You're still in the game. So people want to see, is Steph going to pick Russell Westbrook or would LeBron pick Russell Westbrook? Are they going to try to keep KD and Westbrook away from? I want to see that. So to me, the league they're missing the point and they're dropping the ball on this because I think it would be magic for this to be on television and the drama behind it, because that was the whole point, I thought, was for these two guys, the captains, the leading vote getters, to pick their squads.
Yes, they're missing out on an opportunity. It's a tune-in factor, and just to see the drama or who somebody likes more than somebody else or who they want to play with.
And who cares about feelings? Oh, my goodness. These are grown men that are making multi-million-dollar. Are you kidding me? And you get your feelings hurt because you're picked last in an all-star game? Man, suck it up.
Would you have picked Jordan or Bird with your first pick if you were captain?
Personally?
Yeah.
He plays the same position as I, so bye-bye, Black Jesus. Come on, Larry Legend. Bye-bye.
If you had to take Magic or Larry.
Oh, you're killing me now.
You're taking Magic. You're taking Magic.
I'm taking Magic.
Yes, Magic will throw you the ball.
Yes, he's getting me the ball. Of course I'm taking Magic. But, Larry, you're on standby.
Oh, great. Reg will be in Oklahoma City. Wizards at the Thunder, 8 Eastern on TNT this week. Is that Thursday night?
That is Thursday night.
All right. Safe travels, Reg. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Theodore. Danettes, love you.
That's Reggie Aloysius Miller Jr. III.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.